They turned money into a god. Once, it was nothing more than a tool, a simple medium of exchange to make trade easier. But over time, it evolved into something far more powerful, far more sinister. Today, money isn't just a tool. It's the ultimate authority. It determines who eats and who starves, who gets treated and who dies in a hospital bed, who commands respect and who is dismissed as worthless. Look around you. Every aspect of modern society revolves around money. It's no longer just about wealth, it's about survival. Without money, you're an outcast. Your skills, intelligence, and morality mean nothing if you don't have the financial means to back them up. No money, your voice doesn't matter. No money, your time is owned by someone else. No money, you don't even have the right to live comfortably. And the worst part? You didn't choose this system. You were born into it, conditioned from birth to worship money without ever questioning it. From a young age, you're taught that success means financial prosperity, that working hard and saving will one day lead to wealth. But is that really true? Or is it just a well-crafted illusion designed to keep you running in circles, chasing a dream that was never meant to be yours? This is the game they built. And whether you like it or not, you're already playing. The question is, do you understand the rules? Or are you just another pawn, blindly moving across the board, following a script that was written long before you even existed? The evolution of money. From trade to tyranny. There was a time when money didn't exist. People didn't wake up thinking about salaries, profits, or bank balances. They traded what they had for what they needed. A farmer would exchange wheat for a blacksmith's tools. A fisherman would trade his catch for fresh vegetables. Value was real, tangible. It wasn't about accumulating wealth. It was about survival, cooperation, and mutual benefit. Then came money. At first, it was just a convenience, a way to make trading more efficient. Instead of carrying sacks of grain or livestock, people could use small coins made of silver or gold, representing a fixed value. It was still tied to something real. But the moment people realized that money wasn't just a tool but a weapon of control, everything changed. Rulers, kings, and elites saw the opportunity. If they controlled the money, they controlled the people. Gold-backed currency eventually gave way to paper money, promises of value rather than value itself. Then, paper money turned into digital numbers on a screen, created out of thin air. Governments and banks now had the ultimate power. They could print wealth at will, manipulate economies, and enslave people under the illusion of financial freedom. Today, money is no longer a means of trade. It's the foundation of society itself. Without it, you're powerless. The rich don't just have more money, they own the system that creates it. And the rest of the world, trapped in a cycle of earning, spending, and chasing an illusion they were never meant to control. The control mechanism. How money became power. Fast forward to today. Money is no longer just a tool for trade. It has become the single most powerful force in the world. It dictates your existence, determines your opportunities, and decides your worth in the eyes of society. Your education, your health, your freedom, and even the way people treat you, all of it revolves around how much money you have. No money? You don't get an education. The best schools, the best resources, the best networks, they're reserved for the wealthy. If you're poor, you get trapped in an underfunded system that sets you up for failure before you even begin. No money? You can't afford proper health care. You suffer, you die, while the rich get the best doctors, the best treatments, and the best chances of survival. No money? You're invisible. Society treats you like you don't matter. You're not respected, your voice is unheard, and you're forced into submission, trapped in a never-ending cycle of struggle. No money? You're a slave. You wake up every day to trade your time for a paycheck that barely covers survival. You work longer, harder, and sacrifice more, only to stay in the same place while the rich keep getting richer. But what about those who control the money? They don't work for it. They create it. They print it endlessly, manipulate economies, and decide the fate of nations. They don't just have money, they own the system that produces it. Governments, laws, industries, and even wars, all controlled by those who hold the financial throne. Money became the modern-day crown, and those who hold it became the kings. The rest? Just pawns in a game they were never meant to win. The hard truth. You were born into this system. From the moment you took your first breath, you were placed into a system designed to control you. A system that fed you a single belief. Work hard, follow the rules, and you'll be successful. You were told to grind, to save, to get a good job, and to invest wisely, because that's what responsible people do, right? But what if I told you that this entire mindset was a trap, a carefully designed illusion meant to keep you chasing money, like a dog chasing its own tail, always running, never catching? Think about it. If money is so important, why do the people who print it never run out of it? Why do governments, banks, and billionaires have limitless wealth while the average person struggles just to make ends meet? Why does the system reward those who already have money, but punish those who don't? Because money isn't just currency. It's a tool of control. The rich don't work for money. They print it. They manipulate economies, inflate markets, crash industries, and rewrite the rules of the game, ensuring that they always win while you always struggle. And here's the most brutal truth. You've been programmed to obey. From childhood, you were conditioned to become a worker, a consumer, a pawn in a system where your role is to trade your time and energy for money, only to spend it on things that keep you dependent on the very system that enslaves you. You weren't meant to be free. You were meant to work, obey, and stay asleep until you wake up. So, what's next? Now that you see the game for what it is, a system built to keep you trapped, working, and chasing money that was never meant to set you free, what will you do? Are you going to keep playing by their rules? Keep trading your time for a paycheck? Following the same path they designed for you? Or are you ready to wake up, to break free, and to learn how to truly control your life? Because this is just the beginning. This was part 1 of 4. And in the next part, we're diving even deeper, exposing how money is actually the biggest illusion in human history. What you think is wealth, it's just numbers on a screen? A lie designed to keep you in line? The truth is coming. The system doesn't want you to know this. But if you're ready to see the full picture, to escape the financial matrix, then stay tuned. The next part is coming sooner than you think. Stay awake, stay aware, and subscribe because the real knowledge is just beginning. Everything you've been told about money is a lie. From the moment you were old enough to understand numbers, they planted the seed in your mind. Work hard, earn money, and one day you'll be free. They wrap this lie in golden words, calling it ambition, calling it success, calling it the dream. But what if I told you this is the greatest scam in human history? Money was never designed to set you free. It was designed to control you. Think about it. If money truly equaled success, why do those who print it never seem to struggle for it? Why do billionaires, people with more wealth than they could ever spend, still chase more? Why do you see celebrities with mansions, sports cars, and million-dollar vacations drowning in depression, anxiety, and substance abuse? Because money was never the goal. It was just the bait. They made you believe that success is measured in dollars, that happiness has a price tag, that the more zeros in your bank account, the better your life will be. But if that were true, then the richest people on earth should be the happiest. And yet some of them are the most miserable. You see, real wealth isn't measured in currency. Real wealth is power, control, influence. And those who understand this don't chase money. They make money chase them. But what about the rest? The ones who don't know the truth? They spend their entire lives running on a treadmill designed by those in power, running in circles, convinced that if they just work a little harder, save a little more, and follow the rules, they'll eventually escape. But the finish line keeps moving. The cost of living keeps rising. The rules keep changing. And before they realize it, their life has passed them by. Money isn't real wealth. It's a leash they use to keep you obedient, to keep you dependent, to keep you afraid. The system isn't broken. It was built this way. And unless you wake up to this truth, you'll spend your entire life chasing an illusion. The illusion of success. The bait that keeps you running. Since the moment you were old enough to dream, they planted an idea in your head. Success equals money. They told you that the ones with the biggest houses, the fastest cars, and the most overflowing bank accounts had made it. That if you just worked hard enough, grinded long enough, and sacrificed enough, one day you'd be one of them. But stop and look around. Millionaires drowning in depression, billionaires committing suicide, celebrities with mansions, private jets, and endless luxury, yet still hooked on drugs, lost in toxic relationships, or spiraling into self-destruction. If money is the key to happiness, why are the richest people in the world some of the most miserable? Because money was never the goal. It was just the bait. Think about it. The system is designed like a race, but not a fair one. They dangle the prize in front of you just close enough that you can see it but never quite reach it. From childhood, they set the track. Go to school, get good grades, memorize outdated won't teach you how to create wealth but will train you to obey. Get a degree. Spend years racking up debt so you can beg for a job that covers your expenses. Work a 9 to -5. Trade your most valuable resource, your time, for a fixed paycheck, while inflation eats away at its value. Retire at 65. If you're lucky, you'll have a few years left to enjoy life before your body breaks down and your energy fades. And through it all, they whisper in your ear, just a little more. Work harder. Sacrifice more. One day, you'll have enough to be free. But that day never comes. Because the game was rigged from the start. They made you believe that money was the destination. That once you had enough of it, you'd finally be happy. But here's what they never told you. Real success isn't about control. The ones who truly make it don't work for money. They make money work for them. They own assets. They create systems. They understand that the illusion of success keeps the masses running, while the reality of power belongs to those who control the game. And the worst part? Most people never wake up. They spend their entire lives chasing an illusion, sacrificing their time, their energy, their health, and sometimes even their souls for something that was never designed to fulfill them. But now that you see the truth, are you going to keep running? Or are you ready to escape? The system was built to enslave you. The prison you never saw. You were born into a cage, not one made of steel bars, but one far more dangerous. A mental prison designed to keep you obedient, distracted, and working for those who already own everything. From the moment you took your first steps into a classroom, you weren't being educated. You were being trained. Follow orders. Trained to obey authority. Trained to be a worker, not a leader. Think about it. Why do schools never teach you about money? Why don't they teach you how to invest, how to start a business, how to build wealth? Instead, they fill your head with outdated formulas, history lessons designed by the winners, and rules meant to make you just another cog in the machine. Study hard, get good grades, go to college, take on debt, get a safe job, work for a paycheck, save for retirement, And maybe, just maybe, you'll enjoy life when you're old. But by the time you reach that so-called golden age, your youth is gone. Your energy is drained. And the money you spent decades saving away for, it's been devalued by inflation, stolen by taxes, and funneled into the pockets of those who designed the system in the first place. The harsh truth, they never told you. This system was never meant to make you rich. It was built to keep you warm for those who already are. Look at the richest people in the world. Do they trade their time for money? Number. They own businesses, they control industries, they invest in assets that generate wealth while they sleep. Do they follow the rules they expect you to follow? They find loopholes, manipulate laws, and use their influence to protect their power. But what about the average person? You work 40, 1 hours a week just to survive. You take out loans and mortgages that keep you in debt for life. You pay taxes while billionaires hide their wealth offshore. You believe that one day your hard work will pay off. But one day never comes because the game was rigged from the start. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as it was designed to. Your entire life, you were conditioned to believe that money equals success. That hard work is the key to wealth. That if you just follow the path they laid out for you, you'll make it someday. But let me ask you this. If hard work truly led to wealth, wouldn't the hardest working people be the richest? Construction workers, farmers, factory laborers, nurses, teachers. These people give their blood, sweat, and years to keep society running, yet they struggle just to pay their bills. Meanwhile, a handful of elites who don't trade time for money own everything. Why? Because they control the system. They don't just own businesses. They own the banks that print the money. They own the corporations that pay you just enough to survive. They own the media that distracts you from questioning it. And they own the politicians who make sure nothing ever changes. Breaking free, the choice is yours. Now that you see the prison for what it is, you have two choices. First, keep following the script. Keep trading your time for money. Keep hoping that one day things will magically change. Or, second, learn how to escape. Because make no mistake, the rich don't play by the same rules. And if you want real freedom, you have to stop being a pawn in their game. The next part will reveal the truth about how money is nothing more than an illusion, one designed to keep you trapped. Money is just an illusion. The greatest trick ever played. They fooled you. They made you believe that money is real, that it holds value, that it represents success, that it's the key to your freedom. But what if I told you that everything you think you know about money is a carefully crafted illusion? Most people never even question it. They wake up, go to work, get paid, and spend their earnings, never realizing that the very thing they are trading their lives for doesn't actually exist. The truth they don't want you to know. Once upon a time, money was different. It wasn't just numbers on a screen or pieces of paper with dead presidents on them. It was backed by something real. Gold. Gold had value because it was scarce. It took effort to mine. It couldn't be created out of thin air, and it was universally recognized as a store of wealth. That's what gave old money its power. It was tied to something tangible. But then, the game changed. In 1971, the US government did something that forever altered the world economy. They removed the gold standard. What does that mean? It means that from that moment on, money was no longer backed by anything real. It became a system of trust, a tool of manipulation, and ultimately, a weapon of control. Now central banks can print as much as they want. $1 trillion? Press a button. Another bailout for the rich? No problem. Inflation making your savings worthless? Not their concern. Yet the average person still believes that money is scarce, that they have to grind, hustle, and work themselves into exhaustion just to survive. The silent theft. How the rich get richer while you get poorer. Let me ask you something. If money is so valuable, why do the people who create it never seem to run out of it? The answer is simple. Because they control the supply. Think about this. If you or I print money, it's called counterfeiting. We go to jail. But when governments and central banks do it, they call it quantitative easing. They say it's necessary for the economy. But who does it really help? The ultra-rich. They get first access to the newly printed money before inflation kicks in. They use it to buy assets, real estate, stocks, businesses, while prices are still low. The poor and middle class, by the time that money trickles down, everything is more expensive. Food, gas, rent. Your salary stays the same, but your purchasing power drops. And that's the scam. Every time they print more money, your money becomes worth less. Every hour you work, every dollar you save, it all loses value without you even realizing it. The illusion of hard work, selling your life for nothing. Yet despite all of this, people still sell their lives for money. They spend decades working jobs they hate, obeying orders they despise, and sacrificing their health, happiness, and dreams, all to collect pieces of paper that can be devalued overnight. But the elites, they don't trade their time for money. They print it. They manipulate it. They rig the game in their favor. And if they ever lose, they bail themselves out with your tax dollars. Banks collapse, they get a bailout. Big corporations fail, they get government relief. You lose your job, you're on your own. Because the system isn't broken, it was built to keep you trapped. Wake up. Money isn't real, but power is. So what's the solution? Stop being a slave to money. Because money itself isn't power. The real power lies in controlling money, understanding the system, and owning assets you can't manipulate. The next part will expose how the financial elite designed this system to keep you running in circles while they sit at the top. Stay tuned, subscribe, and wake up from the financial illusion. The truth about wealth, what they never taught you. What if I told you that real wealth isn't what you think it is? From the moment you were old enough to understand money, you were conditioned to believe that wealth is measured in dollars. The bigger your bank account, the richer you are. The more money you have, the more successful you are. But this is the greatest lie ever told. Because the truth is, real wealth isn't about money at all. It's about ownership. It's about control. It's about having power over systems that generate money without you having to trade your time for it. Why the rich don't work for money? Let me ask you something. Do billionaires clock into work every morning? Do the wealthiest people on the planet spend 40 hours a week at an office, collecting a paycheck? Of course not. Because they don't work for money. Money works for them. They own assets. They own businesses. They own land, resources, stocks, intellectual property, things that make money whether they're awake, asleep, or on vacation. Meanwhile, the average person, they trade their time for money. They work a job. They get paid a fixed salary. They hustle, grind, save, and invest in a 401k, hoping that by the time they're old, they'll have enough. But here's the problem. Time is the most valuable resource on earth, not money. And if you're trading time for money, you are losing the only never get back. The hidden trap. Why most people never get ahead. The system was designed to keep the majority of people struggling, buried in debt, and too distracted to ever question why they can't escape the cycle. Think about it. You go to school for 20 years, learning almost nothing about wealth, investing, or financial independence. You take out student loans to pay for college, sinking yourself into debt before you even start your career. You get a job, but your paycheck barely covers living expenses. Force on more debt, credit cards, car loans, mortgages, You work harder, hoping for a raise, but inflation eats away at you, making everything more expensive. You try to save, but taxes take a huge cut, and banks give you pathetic interest rates on your money. And this cycle repeats until you retire or die. Meanwhile, the rich, they use other people's time, other people's labor, and other people's money to build their wealth. They don't take out loans for college. They own the banks that issue those loans. They don't live paycheck to paycheck. They own the companies that decide how much you get paid. This is why the rich get richer and the poor stay poor. The illusion of money. Why no amount ever feels like enough. Here's a question. Why do billionaires keep making more money, even when they already have more than they could ever spend? Why do millionaires still feel empty, still chase more, still never seem satisfied? Because money was never the goal. They convinced you that financial success equals happiness. That once you reach a certain number, you'll finally feel secure, finally feel free, finally feel at peace. But have you ever noticed that no amount ever feels like enough? That's because it was never about happiness. It was always about control. They want you chasing money, obsessed with making more, addicted to the pursuit, so you never have time to chase freedom. Because when you're constantly grinding, working, and worrying about your financial future, you don't question the system. You don't see the game being played against you. You don't realize that true wealth was never about money. It was about power. So what's the solution? How do you break free? The answer is simple, but most people will never do it. Stop trading your time for money. Start owning assets that work for you. Learn how to control money instead of letting money control you. Because at the end of the day, the wealthiest people don't measure success in dollars. They measure it in ownership, influence, and power. And once you understand this, you'll never see money the same way again. Pattern interrupt, the emotional shift that changes everything. Let me ask you something. If money isn't the goal, then what is? If the system is designed to trap you, how do you escape? If the rich aren't chasing money, then what are they chasing? These questions might make you uncomfortable because they force you to confront a truth you were never meant to see. Since childhood, you were programmed to believe that money is the end goal. That if you just work hard, stack enough cash, and climb the corporate ladder, you'll eventually reach financial freedom. But take a step back. Look at the ones who made it. Millionaires still grind like they're broke. Billionaires still work 80-hour weeks. The richest people on the planet never stop acquiring more. Why? Because they were never chasing money to begin with. The system was built to keep you thinking like a worker. Here's a brutal truth. If you think like a worker, you will always be a worker. The system was not built to make you wealthy. It was built to keep you trapped. And the moment you wake up to this reality, your entire perspective shifts. Think about it. Why do schools teach you to memorize facts, but never how to build wealth? Why are you told to save money when inflation makes your savings weaker every year? Why are jobs praised as security when the wealthiest people don't work jobs? Because the system wants you to be a worker, not an owner. You were raised to trade time for money, to work for a paycheck, to follow orders. But the people at the top, they don't trade time for money. They trade money for time. They build assets, things that generate money whether they work or not. They leverage other people's time, hiring employees to do the work for them. They control the flow of money, owning the banks, the businesses, the industries, and because they own everything, they make the rules. The game is rigged, unless you learn to play it differently. If you spend your life chasing money, you'll never have power, because money is just a tool, and the people who control it, they don't chase it, they create it. Think about this. Banks print money out of thin air, but you work 40 hours a week to earn it. The rich invest in assets that make them richer, but you're told to invest in savings accounts that don't even beat inflation. The elite own the corporations that set your salary, but you're expected a raise like that will ever make you wealthy. The rich understand that the real currency of the world isn't money, it's control. Control over assets, control over industries, control over the people who still believe money is the goal. How do you break free? Shift your mindset. If you want to escape the trap, you need to stop thinking like a worker. Because once you see the truth, there's no going back. Stop chasing money. Start chasing leverage. Stop working for money. Start making money work for you. Stop being a pawn. Start playing the game like the kings do. Because in this world, you either learn the rules or get played by them. The moment of truth. Now that you've seen behind the curtain, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Are you going to keep living the way they trained you to? Keep working? Keep saving? Keep obeying? It's like they programmed you to? Or are you going to wake up? Because now, you have a choice. You can either ignore this truth, go back to your daily routine in the same endless loop, or you can break free and start seeing the system for what it really is. A game designed to keep you trapped. This is just the beginning. This was part 2 of 4, but in the next part, I'll expose something even more dangerous. How the financial system was built to keep you poor. How the elites manipulate money to control entire nations. Why the harder you work, the deeper you sink into their trap. The next part will change everything you thought you knew about money. So ask yourself, do you really want to know the truth? If you do, stay tuned, subscribe, and prepare to wake up from the financial matrix. The illusion of financial freedom, the greatest lie ever sold. The dream that was never yours. From the moment you took your first breath, the world had already decided your path. You were born into a system that handed you a script, one that billions before you had followed blindly. Work hard, get good grades, land a stable job, save money, and one day, you'll be free. It sounded simple, logical, even fair. Society glorified those who dedicated their lives to hard work, toiling away for decades with the promise of a golden retirement at the finish line. But let me ask you something. Have you ever seen a billionaire trapped in a cubicle? Have you ever seen the ultra-wealthy clocking in and out, waiting for payday? If hard work was truly the path to wealth, why are construction workers, laborers, and nurses, some of the hardest working people, struggling just to make ends meet? Because the system isn't built to make you rich. It's built to keep you chasing money, while the elite use money to chase power. The rigged game, why you were set up to lose. Think about it. Everything you've been told about money, success, and financial freedom was crafted to keep you playing by rules that were never meant to benefit you. You were told to chase a high-paying job. The wealthy chase ownership. You were taught to save money in a bank. The rich put money into assets that multiply wealth. You were conditioned to trade time for money. The elite trade money for time and control. Yet, the average person keeps running on the hamster wheel, believing that working harder will lead to freedom, while those at the top never work at all. If hard work was the answer, why do the rich get richer even when they do nothing? If saving money was the key, why does inflation eat away at your savings while billionaires keep multiplying their wealth? If financial freedom was just about being responsible, why does the system keep most people trapped in debt, taxes, and expenses they can never escape? Because the truth is, money was never the goal. The goal was control, the money trap. Why? You'll never win playing their game. You were led to believe that money is the prize at the end of a long, hard journey. But what if I told you money was never meant to be the goal? The wealthy don't see money the way you do. To them, money is simply a tool, a means to acquire power, influence, and assets, create even more wealth. While the average person spends decades working to accumulate money, the elite use money to acquire systems that generate wealth automatically. Here's how the system ensures you stay trapped. The salary illusion, keeping you dependent. Your job doesn't make you rich, it makes you dependent. No matter how high your salary is, you're still trading time for money. The moment you stop working, your income stops. Meanwhile, the wealthy don't trade time for money. They own businesses, real estate, stocks, and intellectual property, things that make money without them lifting a finger. That's why they don't work. Their money works for them. The saving hoax, how inflation steals your wealth. You were told to save money, to put it in a bank for security. But what happens? Inflation devalues it every year. Your money loses power, while the wealthy multiply their fortune by investing in assets that appreciate over time. They don't save money. They move it into things that increase in value: stocks, businesses, real estate, and commodities. While you're stacking up money in a savings account, they're using your deposits to invest and get richer. The debt trap, why you'll never escape. The system encourages you to take on debt, but not the kind that makes you rich. The average person is trapped in debt that drains them: credit cards, car loans, student loans, mortgages. The wealthy, on the other hand, use good debt, money borrowed, to buy assets that make them richer. They use the bank's money to invest in things that generate more money, while the poor stay buried in loans that keep them working forever. The shift: how to think like the wealthy. The moment you stop seeing money as the goal and start seeing it as a tool for leverage, everything changes. Instead of chasing paychecks, chase assets. Instead of saving, learn to invest. Instead of working for money, build systems that make money for you. Because the real secret is this: money isn't power. Knowledge, leverage, and control are. The rich play the game differently. The question is, are you ready to stop playing by their rules and start playing to win? Next, how the rich use crises to get even richer. Now that you see the illusion, it's time to dig deeper. In this part, I'll expose how the financial system is rigged against you and how the wealthy use economic crises to transfer wealth from the poor to the rich. The system of financial slavery, the hidden chains you never noticed, the invisible prison you were born into. Imagine waking up every morning, rushing to work, trading hours of your life for a paycheck that barely covers your expenses. You work hard, pay your bills, save a little, and repeat day after day, year after year. You tell yourself that if you just work harder, if you just save more, if you just get that next promotion. But deep down, something feels off. You see people who work just as hard, sometimes even harder, yet they never seem to escape the cycle of stress, debt, and financial struggle. Meanwhile, the ultra-wealthy, they're playing an entirely different game. While you're stuck trading your time for money, their money is working for them, compounding, multiplying, growing, even while they sleep. So let me ask you, if hard work truly led to wealth, why aren't the hard people the richest? Because the system was never designed for you to win. It was designed to keep you running in circles, believing in an illusion, while those at the top control everything. The financial trap, how the system keeps you enslaved. The truth is, the middle class and the poor are not free. They are trapped in an economic machine that keeps them working, consuming, and obeying, but never truly escaping. This isn't an accident. It's by design. You trade time for money. Your job is nothing more than a modern form of slavery. The moment you stop working, your income stops. No matter how hard you work, there are only 24 hours in a day, which means your earning potential is always limited. The wealthy? They own assets, businesses, real estate, stocks that continue to generate money even when they do nothing. You're taxed at the highest rate. Most employees don't even realize that before they see a single dollar from their paycheck, the government has already taken a huge cut. The rich, they don't rely on salaries. They structure their income through investments, businesses, and legal loopholes that allow them to reduce, defer, or even eliminate taxes entirely. You were told to save money, but saving won't make you rich. The banks tell you to save money, yet they turn around and use your savings to invest and get richer. Meanwhile, inflation silently steals your wealth. Every year, your money buys less and less, while the wealthy park their money in assets that rise in value. You were taught to be a worker, not an owner. Schools never taught you about financial freedom, passive income, or wealth-building strategies. Instead, you were conditioned to be a perfect employee, to work hard, follow orders, and remain dependent on a paycheck until the day you die. And the biggest lie they sold you? That working harder will make you richer. The rules of the rich, how they escape the system. The wealthy play by a different set of rules, rules they don't teach in school, rules that the average person never learns. Instead of working for money, they understand that money is a tool, a weapon, a means to acquire power and control. Here's how they escape the system. They own assets, not just paychecks. The poor work for money. The middle class trade time for a salary. The wealthy own things that generate income for them. Billionaires don't work for salaries. They own businesses, stocks, real estate, and intellectual property things that make them richer without them having to work. They use debt to get richer. You were told that debt is bad, but that's only true for consumers. The rich use good debt, borrowing money to invest in income-generating assets. While you take on loans for cars and credit cards, they take loans to buy property, businesses, and investments that pay them back 10 times over. They don't save money, they multiply it. The poor and middle class save money in banks, where it loses value due to inflation. The wealthy invest their money, turning cash into assets that increase in value over time. They buy stocks, real estate, gold, businesses, anything that appreciates instead of depreciating. They leverage the system instead of being a slave to it. The average person fears taxes and just accepts paying whatever they owe. The wealthy hire experts to structure their wealth in ways that minimize taxation legally. They use trusts, corporations, deductions, and offshore accounts to ensure they keep more of their money. The game is rigged, but only if you don't understand how to play it. The Awakening, how to break free from the financial matrix. The truth is, escaping the system isn't about working harder, it's about working smarter. Stop trading time for money. Start building income-generating assets. Stop saving money. Start investing it in things that grow in value. Stop seeing debt as a trap. Start using it as a tool for wealth creation. Stop playing by the rules of the poor. Start learning the strategies of the rich. Because the real secret is this: money isn't power. Knowledge, leverage, and control are. The question is, are you going to keep playing their game, or are you ready to start playing to win? Next, the ultimate financial power move. Now that you understand the system, it's time to learn how to use it to your advantage. I'll reveal the ultimate financial power move that the wealthy use to dominate the economy while the masses stay trapped. The secret strategies of the wealthy, how they own the system while others struggle. Why the rich play a different game. What if everything you were taught about money was designed to keep you trapped? Since childhood, you were told that financial success comes from working hard, getting a high-paying job, and saving money. You were led to believe that climbing the corporate ladder would eventually make you rich. But here's the cold hard truth. The rich don't follow the rules you were taught. They own the game itself. While the average person works for money, the wealthy use money as a tool to gain power. While most people trade their time for a paycheck, the rich build systems that generate money even while they sleep. And the difference isn't luck, it's strategy. If you want to break free from financial slavery, you need to stop thinking like a worker and start thinking like an owner. Here's how the wealthy truly build their empires. Assets over income. The power of ownership. Most people chase income. The rich chase assets. The illusion of job security. You were told that getting a high-paying job means you've made it. But here's the problem. If you stop working, the money stops coming in. You pay the highest taxes because your income is actively earned. You rely on a boss, a company, or an industry that could fire you at any moment. The system wants you dependent on a paycheck because that keeps you obedient. Now compare that to how the rich operate. The truth about wealth. The rich don't trade time for money. They own things that make money for them. They own businesses that generate profits, whether they show up or not. They invest in real estate that pays them rent every single month. They buy stocks and shares in companies that grow in value and pay dividends. They create intellectual property, books, patents, courses that sell without their involvement. That's why billionaires care more about equity than salary. They would rather own 10% of a billion-dollar company than earn a $1 million paycheck. Because true wealth isn't in how much you earn, it's in what you own. Leverage, the art of using other people's resources. The poor and middle class believe they have to do everything themselves. They work long hours, try to save money, and attempt to manage everything alone. The wealthy don't work harder, they work smarter. How the rich use leverage to multiply wealth. They use other people's money, OPM. Instead of saving for 30 years to buy real estate, they use banks' money loans to buy assets now, assets that generate cash flow and appreciate in value. While the average person is afraid of debt, the rich understand that strategic debt makes them wealthier. They use other people's time, OPT. Instead of doing everything themselves, they hire experts to run their businesses, manage investments, and scale operations. They understand that time is the most valuable resource, and they buy back their time by building teams and systems. They use systems to create infinite scale. A worker can only work a certain number of hours. Their income is capped, but a system like a business, software, or automation can run 24/7, serving millions of people simultaneously. The average person exchanges time for money. The wealthy use leverage to make money without using their time. Control, the ultimate power move. The rich don't just own assets, they own the rules of the game. The wealthiest people in the world don't just build businesses, they control industries, they influence governments, they shape economies. How the rich control the system, they don't fear recessions, they profit from them. While the masses panic during financial crashes, the wealthy buy assets at a discount. They understand that wealth is transferred during economic downturns, from the fearful to the fearless. They create tax laws that benefit themselves, while employees pay taxes before they even see their paycheck. The rich use loopholes, deductions, and offshore accounts to minimize or eliminate taxes. They structure their income through businesses and investments, allowing them to reinvest wealth instead of losing it to taxation. They influence politics and policies. The ultra-rich don't just play within the system. They fund politicians, lobby governments, and shape policies that protect their wealth. They ensure that the rules of the game always benefit them. That's why the rich don't worry about financial crises. They engineer them and profit from them. Because the game was never about making money. It was about controlling money. The wealth formula. how to escape the system. Now that you know how the rich build wealth, here's how you can apply these principles to escape financial slavery. Stop trading time for money, start acquiring assets, stop fearing debt, learn how to use it strategically to build wealth, stop doing everything alone, use leverage to multiply your income, stop playing by the rules of the poor, learn how the wealthy structure their finances, because at the end of the day, there are two types of people: those who follow the system, working hard but never escaping; those who understand the system, play the game differently, and build real wealth. Which one will you be? Next, the final piece of the puzzle. In the next part, I'll expose how the financial elite manipulate the economy, control the masses, and ensure that only a few ever reach the top. The mindset shift. How you can escape the financial trap. The truth they don't want you to know. You spent your whole life playing by the rules. Work hard, get a job, save money, and one day, you'll be financially free. But now, you see the truth. The system was never designed to make you rich. It was built to keep you trapped, chasing money but never truly owning it. So the real question is, how do you break free? The answer lies in changing the way you think about money, power, and control. Because the only way to escape the system is to stop thinking like a worker and start thinking like an owner. Here's how. Stop thinking like a worker. Start thinking like an owner. The worker's mindset. Chasing a paycheck. Most people are stuck in the same cycle. Wake up. Go to work. Trade hours for money. Get paid. Spend money on bills and expenses. Repeat until retirement, if they're lucky. They believe a higher salary means wealth, but that's an illusion. A job keeps you dependent. If you stop working, your income disappears. Salaries are taxed the highest, meaning the more you earn, the more you lose. Inflation erodes your savings, making your money worth less over time. Now compare that to the mindset of the wealthy. The owner's mindset, building income, producing assets. The rich don't trade time for money. They build assets that make money for them. They don't rely on salaries. Instead, they own businesses, stocks, real estate, and intellectual property that generate income even when they're sleeping. They don't save money, they invest it. While the average person hoards cash, which loses value, the wealthy put their money into assets that appreciate over time. They don't fear losing a job because they don't need one. Their wealth isn't tied to a paycheck, it's tied to ownership. If you want to escape the system, you must stop thinking like an employee and start thinking like an investor. Instead of asking, how can I make more money? Ask, how can I own something that makes money for me? Learn the rules of money, because the rich play by different rules. The middle class believes money is about working harder. The rich know money is about working smarter. Think about it. Billionaires don't work 100 times harder than you. They don't have more hours in a day than you do. So why are they making 100, 1,000, even 1,000,000 times more money? Because they understand the rules of the financial system, the rules they never taught you in school. What the wealthy know that you don't? Money is a game of knowledge, not labor. If hard work alone made people rich, construction workers and nurses would be billionaires. But they're not, because money flows to those who understand how it works, not those who work the hardest. Taxes are optional for the rich. Employees get taxed first and paid last. The wealthy use loopholes, businesses, and investments to legally minimize or eliminate taxes. Inflation is a weapon used against the poor. The government prints more money, making your savings worth less over time. Meanwhile, the rich own assets, real estate, stocks, commodities that increase in value as money loses purchasing power. If you want to break free, you must educate yourself on money. Read books on investing, business, real estate, and financial systems. Study how banks, governments, and corporations manipulate money. Learn from the people who escape the system, not from those still trapped in it. Because in a rigged game, the only way to win is to understand the rules. Leverage what you have, because you don't need money to get started. Most people believe they can't escape because they don't have enough money. But the truth is, you don't need money, you need leverage. The wealthy don't use their own money to get rich. They use other people's money, OPM. They borrow from banks and investors to buy assets that generate wealth. Other people's time, OPT. They hire experts, build teams, and create systems so they can multiply their income without multiplying their effort. Other people's knowledge, OPK. They learn from mentors, books, courses, and networks, because wisdom is the shortcut to wealth. How you can leverage what you have right now. If you have skills and start a business, or offer services that generate income. If you have knowledge, teach, consult, or create digital products that sell. If you have connections that build partnerships, that open new opportunities. If you have nothing, then learn. Because knowledge is the one investment that pays infinite returns. Most people wait for the perfect time to start. The wealthy start with what they have and leverage their way up. Because the difference between the rich and the poor isn't money, it's mindset, and strategy. Your choice: stay trapped or break free. Now that you know the truth, you have two choices. First, keep playing the game like everyone else, working for money, saving what little you can, and hoping for financial freedom one day. Second, change your mindset, learn the rules of wealth, and start playing the game like the rich, building assets, leveraging resources, and controlling money instead of being controlled by it. Which will you choose? Next, the final piece of the puzzle. In the final part, I'll expose how financial crises aren't accidents. They are engineered events designed to transfer wealth from the poor to the rich. The same pattern has repeated for centuries, and those who don't understand it will always be on the losing side. Stay tuned, hit that subscribe button, and prepare to wake up from the financial matrix. The illusion of freedom. How the system keeps you trapped. From the moment you took your first breath, the game had already begun. You were placed into a system, one that was carefully designed, not for your success, but for your compliance. You were given a script, a blueprint to follow, a path that millions before you had walked, and millions after you would blindly accept as the only way. You were told that if you worked hard, stayed disciplined, and remained financially responsible, you would one day achieve security, comfort, and maybe even wealth. But have you ever stopped to question, responsible for what, and for whom? Your entire life, you were conditioned to serve the system, not yourself. To keep it running, not to escape it. The endless cycle. Why you never get ahead. Think about it. You wake up, go to work, get paid, and by the time you receive your paycheck, most of it is already gone. Taxes take their cut before you even see your money. Bills swallow up the rest. Rent, food, gas, insurance. Your hard-earned income is drained before you ever get a chance to use it for your own growth. You save what little remains, believing it will protect you. But every year, inflation eats away at its value, like a parasite. The cost of living rises, wages stay stagnant, and you're told to just work harder, as if effort alone is the solution. Meanwhile, the wealthy, they don't run this race. They don't wake up worrying about a paycheck. They don't trade hours of their life just to survive. They understand something that you were never taught. Money is not the goal, it's the tool. The real game. Why the wealthy don't play by your rules. The rich don't waste time earning money the way you were taught. They know that time is the most valuable asset, and trading it for money is the worst deal in history. Instead, they focus on owning assets that generate money automatically. Instead of relying on a job, they invest in businesses, real estate, stocks, and intellectual property. Their wealth multiplies while they sleep, leveraging debt instead of fearing it. The middle class is terrified of debt. The rich, they use it as a weapon, borrowing money at low interest rates to buy appreciating assets. Understanding the real tax game. While employees are taxed before they see their paycheck, the wealthy use legal loopholes, business structures, and investment strategies to keep more of what they make. Controlling the system instead of serving it, they don't just follow financial rules, they write them. They influence laws, policies, and markets to ensure that wealth always flows in their direction. This is why wealth stays at the top. The rich don't just make money, they control money. And in doing so, they control you. The grand illusion, the truth they don't want you to see. The biggest lie you were ever told? That financial freedom comes from working harder. The truth is, no matter how hard you work, if you're playing by their rules, you will never win. You weren't meant to climb the corporate ladder. You were meant to build the ladder. You weren't meant to live paycheck to paycheck. You were meant to own the cash flow. You weren't meant to be another pawn in their system. You were meant to control the board. The system doesn't want you to wake up. But now, you have a choice. Keep running in circles, chasing a dream that was never meant for you. Or learn the real game, break free, and start building wealth on your terms. The question is, are you ready to play differently? The money trap. Most people stay stuck. Imagine running on a treadmill. You push harder, sweat more, and keep moving. But no matter how much effort you put in, you're still in the same place. This is exactly how the financial system was designed, to keep you moving, struggling, believing you're making progress, while in reality, you're just running in place. Because the truth is, the system was never meant to make you rich. It was built to ensure that you stay dependent. No matter how much you earn, no matter how hard you work, there are forces in place that keep you trapped. Here's how the money trap works, and why most people never escape. Trap 1. You trade time for money. Since childhood, you were programmed to believe that the only way to make money is to work for it. You go to school, get good grades, and land a stable job. You work 8, 10, maybe even 12 hours a day. You get a paycheck, spend it on bills, rent, food, and whatever is left. You try to save. But what happens if you stop working? Your income stops. That's the brutal reality of a job. You only get paid if you trade your time for money. The moment you stop, the money stops. Meanwhile, the wealthy, they don't trade time for money. They own things that make money for them. Real estate that pays them rent. Businesses that generate profit even when they sleep. Investments that grow in value over time. While you're working to survive, they're building wealth that works for them forever. Trap 2. You're taxed before you even get paid. Ever wonder why the harder you work, the more they take? As an employee, you get taxed before you even see your paycheck. The government takes their cut first, and you get whatever's left. The more you earn, the higher percentage you pay in taxes. But the rich, they don't play by these rules. They structure their income through businesses, investments, and tax loopholes so they can keep more of what they earn. They reinvest their money into assets that are taxed at lower rates, or not at all. They legally pay little to no taxes, while the middle class and poor carry the burden. This is why working harder won't make you rich. The system is designed to take more from you the more you earn. The real secret? It's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. Trap 3. You save while inflation destroys your money. For years you were told, save your money, be responsible. But what they didn't tell you is that saving money doesn't make you rich, it makes you weaker. Every year, inflation eats away at the value of your savings. What could buy you a house 20 years ago can barely afford a car today. While you're saving, the cost of living keeps rising and your money loses power. And where do the rich put their money? In assets that grow in value. They buy real estate, stocks, and businesses. They invest in assets that appreciate over time. While the value of cash decreases, their wealth multiplies. The system tells you to save because they need you weak. They don't want you owning assets. They want you working for money while they make money work for them. Trap 4. You work harder, but they change the rules. Ever notice how no matter how hard you work, things never seem to get easier? Prices keep rising. Wages stay the same. Housing becomes unaffordable. And every time a financial crisis hits, who suffers the most? The poor lose their jobs, homes, and savings. The middle class gets squeezed, working harder just to keep up. And the ultra-rich, they get bailouts. They buy up assets at dirt cheap prices while everyone else suffers. They change the rules whenever it benefits them. They own the banks. They control the markets. They influence the government. And yet they still tell you, work harder, save more, be responsible. But the truth is, working harder won't set you free. Playing by their rules won't make you wealthy. The only way out, play the game differently. If you want to escape the money trap, you must stop thinking like everyone else. Stop trading time for money. Focus on building income-generating assets. Stop letting taxes drain your wealth. Learn how to legally structure your income like the wealthy. Stop saving money that loses value. Invest in assets that appreciate over time. Stop playing by their rules. Learn the real game of wealth and play to win. The system wasn't built for you to win, but if you understand the game, you can break free from it. The question is, will you keep running on their treadmill, Or will you step off and start playing the game on your own terms? The wealth formula: how the rich build freedom. Wealth isn't an accident, it's a formula. While the average person works for money, the wealthy build systems that create money. They don't follow the rules you were taught. They don't trade time for income. They don't rely on saving pennies while inflation steals their wealth. Instead, they play the game at an entirely different level. If you want to escape the money trap, you must start thinking and acting like the rich. Step 1. Own assets, not just a job. Most people believe that making more money means working harder. This is a lie. You work a job, earn a paycheck, pay your bills, and try to save what's left. The moment you stop working, your income stops too. This is not wealth. This is survival. The wealthy play a different game. Instead of working for money, they buy things that generate money for them. Businesses that bring in profits even when they're not present. Stocks that grow and pay them dividends. Real estate that generates passive income. Intellectual property, books, courses, patents that keep earning money indefinitely. Their money isn't tied to their time. It works for them 24/7. The rich don't chase paychecks, they chase ownership. Step 2. Leverage debt instead of being crushed by it. You were told debt is bad, that you should avoid it at all costs. But what they didn't tell you is, not all debt is created equal. The poor and middle class use bad debt, credit cards, car loans, student loans, to buy things that drain their wealth. The rich use good debt. They borrow money to acquire assets that make them richer. How? They take loans to buy real estate that pays for itself through rental income. They use borrowed money to invest in businesses that generate returns far greater than the loan's interest. They leverage other people's money to scale their investments faster. Instead of drowning in debt, they use it as a tool to build massive wealth. The system was designed to keep you paying interest instead of earning it. The rich figured this out and flipped the script. Step 3. Use the system instead of being used by it. The average person complains about taxes. The wealthy? They master tax laws, loopholes, and legal strategies to keep more money. The poor pay taxes first and spend what's left. The rich spend first and pay taxes on what's left. They know the secrets of business structures, investment loopholes, and tax incentives. They use businesses to write off expenses that others pay for with post-tax dollars. They invest in assets that are taxed at lower rates than wages. They use foundations and trusts to legally protect and transfer wealth tax-free. While the average person is stuck paying full price, the wealthy move their money strategically, legally avoiding what most people can't. This is why the rich get richer. They don't just play the system, they control it. Step 4. Focus on control, not just cash. You were taught that financial success means making more money. But true power doesn't come from income, it comes from control. The wealthiest people don't just earn money. They own industries, influence laws, and manipulate markets. They don't fear recessions or crashes. They use them to buy up assets at bargain prices. They make the rules that govern how money flows. When the stock market crashes, when inflation rises, when economies collapse, who suffers? The middle class, the working poor. Who profits? The elite. Because they don't just play the game, they control it. The moment you shift from chasing money to controlling assets, everything changes. The path to real wealth. If you want to escape the money trap, you must stop thinking like a worker and start thinking like an owner. Own assets that generate income instead of just working for a paycheck. Leverage debt to build wealth instead of being buried by it. Master the system instead of letting it exploit you. Focus on control, because money without control is meaningless. This is how wealth is truly built. The system was designed to keep you trapped. But now that you know the formula, will you keep playing by their rules, or will you start playing to win? Breaking free, your action plan to build real wealth. Escaping the money trap isn't about working harder. It's about working smarter. The system was designed to keep you chasing paychecks, paying taxes, and saving money that loses value every year. But the wealthy? They play an entirely different game. The good news? You can too. Here's the exact blueprint to break free and build real lasting wealth. Shift your mindset. Stop thinking like a worker. Start thinking like an owner. The first step to financial freedom isn't making more money. It's changing how you see money. Most people see money as something to earn, spend, and save. The rich see money as a tool for leverage, investment, and control. Stop asking, how can I make more money? Start asking, how can I make money work for me? The wealthy don't grind for money. They build systems that generate money indefinitely. Until you shift your mindset, always be playing someone else's game. Acquire income-producing assets. Escape the paycheck mentality. A job will never make you wealthy. A paycheck alone will never set you free. The average person relies on a single income source, their job. The rich? They have multiple streams of income, most of which require little to no daily effort. Stocks that grow in value and pay dividends. Businesses that generate cash flow. Real estate that brings in rental income. Digital assets, ebooks, courses, software, intellectual property that sell while they sleep. Every asset you own reduces your dependence on a paycheck. The more assets you have, the closer you are to financial freedom. Master the rules of the game. Educate yourself like the wealthy do. Wealth isn't about luck. It's about knowing things other people don't. Most people are financially stuck because they don't understand how money works. Schools don't teach you about taxes, investments, or wealth creation. Why? Because they don't want you to be free. You must educate yourself. Read books on investing, business, and finance. Study the tax system so you don't get legally robbed. Learn how banks, markets, and governments manipulate money. Knowledge is the weapon that separates the wealthy from the poor. If you don't understand the game, you will always be a pawn. Stop trading time for money. Build automated income streams. If your income stops when you stop working, you're trapped. The wealthy don't rely on hourly wages or fixed salaries. They build systems that generate income 24/7. Online businesses that sell digital products, memberships, or services. Affiliate marketing that pays commissions while they sleep. Real estate investments that generate passive rental income. Automated investments that compound wealth without effort. Your goal? Set up streams of income that work for you, not the other way around. Leverage, don't labor. Use other people's time, money, and skills. You can only work so many hours in a day, but money has no limits. The wealthy don't do everything alone. They leverage other people's money, loans, investors, credit, to acquire assets, other people's time, employees, freelancers, automation to businesses, other people's skills, experts, advisors, mentors, to multiply their success. The middle class tries to do everything themselves. The rich build teams, create networks, and scale wealth using leverage. Prepare for economic cycles. Profit from the crashes. Every recession, every crash, every financial crisis, it's not an accident. The ultra-wealthy don't panic when the market collapses. They buy assets at a discount. In 2008, when people lost homes, the rich bought real estate for pennies on the dollar. During stock market crashes, the rich buy undervalued stocks while the poor panic and sell. When inflation rises, the rich hold assets that appreciate in value. The economy isn't unpredictable. It moves in cycles. The question is, will you be a victim, or will you position yourself to win? Your escape plan starts now. Most people will read this and do nothing. They'll stay in the same cycle, working harder, paying higher taxes, and saving money that loses value. But you're different. Start shifting your mindset. Start acquiring income-generating assets. Start learning the financial game. Start building wealth the way the rich do. You have two choices. Keep playing the game like everyone else, or learn how to win it. The choice: stay trapped or break free. Now that you know the truth, you stand at a crossroads. You have two options. One will keep you trapped, The other will set you free. Option 1. Stay in the system. Keep trading time for money, locked in a cycle that never ends. Save what little you can while inflation destroys your purchasing power. Work harder, pay more taxes, and watch the rich get richer while you struggle. Hope for a lucky break, but deep down, you know it's not coming. Or option 2, break free and play to win. Learn how money really works so you can use it, not be used by it. Acquire income-producing assets that pay you whether you work or not. Master the rules of business, investing, and leverage so you never depend on a paycheck again. Take control of your time, freedom, and financial future. The world isn't fair. The game is rigged. But once you understand the game, you can start playing to win. So, which choice will you make?